evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 6, Episode 34, DJI Mini 4 Pro. The leaks keep coming. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. Let's see who we got in. We got a full house already here tonight. Let's see. Boy, wow. We do have a lot. Mad Props Media, John Olson, Akarasho. Michael Wright is on his way back home from Minefield. Listening to us tonight. Flying Flame Media, John, welcome. Jaybird is here. Sergeant Rock. Flying, let's see who else. Waypoint New England. KC Crime Fighter, welcome. My friend Leonard Oglesby. Richard is here. Welcome. Lauren, good to see you. See who else we got in here. Captain Joe America, welcome. Good to see you too. Let's see who else we got. Wow. Captain Ray is here. All right. Let's see who else we got. Okay. All right. Got a full house here tonight. Good seeing everybody. Wanted to show you, I've been starting out lately with, update on build. I'm going to show you a fashion accessory that everybody is going to want to have. I guarantee you this. Okay. You can't get this at Zared or or any of the major jewelers. Look at this bad boy here. Okay. What this is this will help straighten my finger out. This was made for me by my physical therapist, and it's working. And I'm to wear it during the day as much as possible. At night, I have another splint that I wear. But yeah, this is the latest in fashion accessory from my physical therapist. And it's a lot, trust me, it's about as pricey as going to a fine jewelry store like Jared's and getting something there, but it is working. I just got to remember to take it off at times. It can get in the way very easy, and especially at night. And if you're not right, you could really hurt your finger, but you got to be careful with this. So yeah, that's the latest on this. So wanted to show you guys my latest fashion accessory. All right. Ron Marcus is going to be joining us here in a little bit. I hope you guys caught their show last night with Billy. Billy's fantastic. Absolutely love him. He's a wealth of information. You could probably have him on a show for 3 hours and you wouldn't tap it all. Art, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah. Billy is just so fantastic. And we'll get him on soon coming up here. First thing I do want to talk about tonight, I want to talk about the Air 3, and it's kind of funny that the Air 3 is kind of taking a back seat right now to our main topic of the evening, which is real interesting. But, one of the things that I'm actually really kind of surprised about with the Air 3, and see if you guys agree with me here in the chat, and I'd like to get your feedback on this, is there hasn't been a firmware update for the Air 3 yet. I mean, we're going to talk about the Osmo Action 4. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But there hasn't been a firmware update for the Air 3. And that's kind of puzzling because usually by this point in time, I mean, I've had it for 3 weeks, going on 4 weeks. And there's usually a firmware update, even a minor insignificant one that they say, fix certain bugs or whatever that's really generic. Something like that. Nothing has come out with this, which is really, it's kind of curious as to why that's happened. I don't know. I can't. I wish I could answer that question. I really kind of don't know here why it's like that. I don't understand. I really don't understand. But yeah, it's just yeah. That's I'm at a loss. I can't explain it. I mean, usually by now, it seems like every other drone that's been coming out for some period of time, there's always been, a firmware update. So, okay. Well, before I get to my next subject, happy anniversary. And the happy anniversary is, it was in 2018. So 5 years ago today, Valerie and I flew into LaGuardia, and we got there a day ahead of time for the See the Bigger Picture event when the DJI Mavic 2 Pro and Zoom were introduced to us. And I'm going to compile a video of some kind of some outtakes, some pictures, just some things I'm going to get a video out probably this weekend because I have a couple of videos coming out on the Air 3 this week. And I'm running into a log jam, which is a good problem. Yeah, well, yeah, Richard, they did get it right, but usually what I'm expecting is maybe some type of added feature, say like the DJI RC Pro being added, OcuSync 4 added to the RC Pro to pick up the Air 3, something like that, something significant. So we'll see. Okay, I don't know. So we'll see on that. But yeah, today is the day we flew out there to Brooklyn into LaGuardia. And it was Valerie and I had a wonderful time. Valerie had never been to New York City before. And it was just a very enjoyable time. And I'm not going to steal my thunder because I do want to mention some things during the video. But, remember this. This was the last in-person release event that DJI held. And this was 5 years ago. It was in 2018. And they did it upright. They really did it upright. We had a great time. I really enjoyed it. Valerie really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Well, I got to meet a lot of people for the first time. Got to meet Rick Smith. Believe it or not, okay? And this was crazy. Ken and I had talked for like forever. And this is the first time we met each other. Met Billy there. I met Kelly Shores there. Met Ed Ricker there. Who else? I'm thinking my mind's swirling right now. But yeah, met the cream of the crop there, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. Johnny, welcome to see you. Johnson City Aerial Photography, welcome. Maddie, welcome. Good seeing you guys too. So yeah, I'm gonna do a video on this weekend to kind of remember that, go back and take a look at it, and just how significant that was, because it was the last in-person release event that DJI held and probably will ever hold because of that. Yeah, Johnson City Photography. Yeah, I remember your trip 5 years ago and then doing a demonstration flying the drones out the back. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. I was I'm not going to spoil too much, but I was Chicken Little. I recorded everybody else doing their thing, flying. I did not want to have any part of doing that. Flying that out over the Hudson. I did not want to go there. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. We had a great time. Okay. All right. Moving on here. All right. There was a firmware update for the Action 4. Yeah. Believe it or not, there was a firmware update for the Action 4, and got an article about that. And I do want to go ahead and talk about that. And I think it's actually, I think it's significant. I'm really kind of interested in this here because I haven't really taken a deep dive into it. So let's go ahead and share. I'll share my screen here. All right, DJI releases new firmware update for Osmo Action 4 camera. Firmware version 01.01.06.30 is now available to download for the DJI Osmo Action 4 camera. The accompanying Mimo app has also been updated to V1.10.2 by DJI. The firmware brought support for shooting 10-bit video in efficiency mode, HEVC, and allowed users to customize sharpness and noise reduction levels. Further, it added support for using the Action 4 with Osmo Action GPS Bluetooth remote controller and optimized the automatic exposure to improve image quality and enhance color performance. Expectedly, the new firmware is simply a bug fix update and improves the new features introduced by V01.01.06.30. And they talked about the Action 4 and some of the specs here and pricing on the Action 4 as well. And if you guys watched last night, and I hate to steal Billy's thunder, but he talked about, and Billy's a real world user, okay? And he shared last night with Ron and Marcus when he talked about this. He shared, it was real interesting about him filming in his Tesla, and he didn't have the air conditioning on, and how the GoPro Hero overheated and shut down correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because I know a lot of you guys watched Ron and Marcus last night, and he had the Action. I think it was the Action 4K. So no problems at all. It went like no problems at all whatsoever. Mark, welcome. Good to see you tonight, my friend. Yeah, he had no problems with it. So it's very, very interesting what happened there. Okay. This overheating issue with a GoPro Hero is just, yeah. Yeah. I really kind of wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, to be honest with you. And I know, Marcus has expressed his concern and justifiably so. He's had quite a bit of issues with it overheating, and he expressed about the Action 2 with that case that he had on there that apparently it does dissipate the heat very well. So DJI has kind of learned their lesson on that. So that's something to take into consideration if you're looking at it now. Looking at the specs, the GoPro Hero 12 outspecs the Action 4. But, again, do you want to have a camera that overheats and shuts down? Or do you want to have a camera that is going to be dependable, especially when it gets warm? And it's most of the United States has been very warm lately, very insanely warm, off the charts here. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. But that's a good thing. They came out with that firmware update. It's kind of like a bug fix kind of a thing, but they did that and they addressed it and they got it taken care of. And conversely, and I'm going to backpedal just a little bit to the Air 3, the lack of a firmware update. It also, Johnson City, I may do the same thing, even though I have a 1, which I'm really pleased with, but I may look and see if my accessories from some of the accessories from the 1 will work with it. I don't know. We'll find out. But the Action 3, the lack of a firmware update is also good news too, because Bill Thomas, welcome. Good to see you tonight, my friend. The lack of a firmware update means there's really no issues right now, which is really good. I mean, we all know when the Mavic 3 rolled out, we had the wonderful GPS issue and needed to get that corrected. And they did. They got it taken care of in short order. But, the absence of a firmware update also indicates a positive sign is that there's no issues on this. There's absolutely no issues on that. So, and I also want to have a shout out to last night. I did watch Drone Nation. When Drone Nation is on, it's like Bill's bedtime comes real soon because he gets up at 0:30 every morning, every day for work. But it was great to see Michael Wright with our good friend DeMarco on last night. That was a blast. I enjoyed that. He kind of did an unexpected photo bomb, but it was great. That was fun seeing it. Michael, it was great seeing you with DeMarco. And I watched some of your clips today. It was great seeing you flying your Air 3 for the first time with DeMarco. That is awesome. That just kudos to you, and glad you had a good time at Minefield. That was good to hear. I heard a lot of people had a good time there. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. That was great. That was absolutely great. Okay, all right. What else we got going on here? Okay, yeah, GoPro Hero 12. Now, our good friend Igor, there hasn't been any articles per se out there about the GoPro Hero 12 right now, but our good friend Igor has posted some more pictures out on his account, and I thought it would be kind of good to spend a couple minutes taking a look at this. So let's go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. And he says, okay, here are the key features of the new camera. Up to 8x slow motion, 2x zoom, hyper smooth 6.0 with auto boost, live streaming in 1080p, frame grab with a GoPro Quick app, large 2.27 rear touchscreen with touch zoom, and 1.4-inch screen for preview, front screen for preview. Okay. Let's go back here because I know there were other. Yeah, here's some more. What did you find so interesting about her? And there's a couple more pictures that he posts about it. And they're the pictures that are currently up. But it's coming out next month in September. And I would say this: if you're a GoPro fan, I would wait to see reviews before you would even think about hitting the buy button on this. That would be my strong advice, because I'm listening to people. Marcus is well documented with his travails with the GoPro Hero cameras. I mean, he had to get in touch with their customer service, send it back. There's Mr. Ron Brown. How are you, sir?
Hello, Bill. How are you tonight?
Okay, I got
sound check
here. Hang on a second, Ron. Okay, we should hear you now.
Bill, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Great. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. Well, first off, congratulations on your Air 3.
Oh, thank you. I'm enjoying it so far, Bill. Thanks for your recommendations on it.
Well, I'm glad you got it. So, how many flights have you gotten in?
I'm going to say about maybe half dozen. It's still early days, but they've all been good flights, Bill.
Well, I watched you guys last night. Billy's always a great guest. I mean, one of the things I said right away is you could have him on 3 hours and you still wouldn't have him on long enough. Okay.
We could afford for 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, really, one of the things that I really liked what he would, I mean, he said so much good stuff last night, but he talked about the lack of a firmware update for the Air 3. And we finds it kind of curious, because it's been out several weeks. But I also I flip the coin over too. The lack of a firmware update also indicates positive news. There's really nothing really drastically. Nobody's found any bugs with it so far.
Nice to get back to the old days when you didn't need a whole passel of firmware updates in the first month, Bill.
Yeah. I mean, it was well, and I just mentioned the Mavic 3 had the GPS issue when it came out. And, I was thinking about that, and it's like, oops, kind of a thing. Yeah. Well, I remember the Mini 3 Pro had a firmware update, I think, right away, but it was kind of like it was just like miscellaneous fixes. One of those.
Yeah, remember it had some kind of a weird connection problem too that they had to get fixed right away. I forget all the details, but it needed a bunch of work right away too. So it is nice to see them finally, get something tested thoroughly to make sure that the release went pretty smooth. And I guess, Bill, they borrowed a lot of technology from this drone, from the Mavic 3 series, and some from the Mini 3. So I guess we're using some of that technology they already had working right, helped ease the release.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because again, it's just it's nice and smooth, and it's nice. It's so nice, Ron, when you get a drone out of the box, you charge the batteries up, you charge the controller up, get an SD card in there, and you can go out and fly. I mean, it's there's no. You're not having to worry about stuff, which I think
like other products in your life. When you buy a new big screen TV, I know they need firmware updates now too. But you hook it up, you hook it to your internet, does a firmware update, and then you watch a TV. You don't have to sit there and wait for a bunch of firmware updates because Netflix won't play or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, boom, and it's there, and it's done, and that's the same thing here. Yeah. One of the things I found really interesting, what Billy said, and we're going to get. I got a couple more topics we're going to get to here in a minute. But one of the things I really liked what he said was, and he was talking about 04, and with being with the Air 3 and also the RC Pro, and a firmware update for the RC Pro for 04, and also be able to pick up the Air 3. I mean, he made a lot of sense when he talked about that last night. I really liked that. That was really good.
Yeah. And you bring 04 up and back to what I said before, Bill, really outside of 04, the Air 3 doesn't really have anything new that wasn't on another drone before it. So it kind of cobbled together. Things are already working out there, existing, and they work well. And then they just bundled in this drone with a new body and put 04 in. But everything else was already working either in the Mavic 3 or the Mini 3 series. So it kind of made it easy. I mean, we always want all these great new features, whatever, but really, we didn't really get them per se on this drone outside the 04, but we kind of got the best of many other drones all put into one, Bill.
Yeah, we did, Ron. You brought up an excellent point, because a lot of the features that we see on the Air 3, for example, you all you got to do is point to the Mavic 3 and it's right there, or you point to the Mini 3 Pro and it's right there. So there's nothing really earth-shattering, groundbreaking, new kind of thing with this. One of the interesting things that Billy said last night too, which I found real interesting, was about the 48 megapixel camera from the Air 2S. Okay. And I think I'm trying to remember the context in which what he was talking about.
Or remember, though, the Air 2S had a 20 megapixel sensor, so it didn't do that pixel doubling. 20 megapixel was a 20 megapixel. The 48 megapixel is something that came from the smaller sensor drones like the Mini 3 Pro.
Yeah, and trying to relate it to the Air 3. And I really like that conversation he had last night. And Marcus was asking he was spot on last night. He was asking some really good questions about the blur. And I was trying to follow what Billy said. And I was just like, wow. Okay. It's just like right there. Okay. But Billy's on another level. All right. I know I can do a lot of pretty good things with my DaVinci Resolve, but what he was talking about last night, I'm like,
yeah, wow. And it was mostly in relation to doing hyperlapses, Bill.
Hyperlapse, right?
Yeah,
right. Having 1,000 ND filter,
on to get the blur. Yeah.
Get the blur, yeah. And that was good. So, want to go ahead.
I saw you talk about our little action camera, the GoPro Hero 12, huh?
Yeah, I was just talking about that, and it was real interesting how Billy related about when he was in the Tesla and the air conditioning was off, and I think was it the Action 4 that he had that did not overheat?
Yeah, I believe, it was Action 3. It was last summer. It was the Action 3. Yeah,
the Action 3, and it didn't overheat, but the GoPro Hero that he had did overheat, which I made the comment right before you joined me. If you're interested in the Hero 12, please watch a review before you go out there and buy it. And also too, especially Marcus has a history with GoPro, and it's not very good. So that's why I tell people, be very cautious before you go out there and go ahead and buy one of these. This is one you really want to watch reviews on.
Yeah, and Bill, I just want to say, I don't want to. I'm not sticking up for GoPro, or I don't get say anything for free, so I'm not promoting anybody's company. But our friend Brian Singleton, he bought the Action 4, but off the glowing reviews, and he got it. And he has an older Hero. He didn't have the Hero 11. He's got an older Hero 9 or 10. And right away, he actually I was gonna say he set the Action 4 back. I think he's actually sold it because the colors, it didn't look good as the colors, the video did not look as good. So I mean, I understand the overheating issue is a big concern for many, but remember, you can't totally discount the video quality.
Yeah.
I mean, like for instance, Bill, if you were choosing between, say, a Nikon and a Sony or a Canon camera, you're most likely going to buy the one that takes the best pictures. You're not going to say, well, this one's not the best pictures, but it I don't know, the shutter button works better or whatever. With cameras, at least for me, I prioritize video quality over everything else. Now I realize that the Action camera overheats, you can't even use it. That's one thing or whatever. But I think it's important to see which see which camera looks better when the Hero 12 comes out. I'm not saying it's going to look better. I'm saying, like you said, wait for the reviews, look and see.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I advise people, compare it against some of the reviews for an Action 4 and make your decision. A lot of these guys will get it and they'll put it through its paces, and look for somebody that's really going out there and using this for what this camera is intended to do. I mean, I know yourself, Marcus, myself, we're not skateboarding, we're not rollerblading, we're not biking, that kind of thing. We're using it probably for B-roll more often than not, or maybe shooting some vlogs or something like that. not real heavy duty action kind of a thing.
Yeah, I don't have it in 5K, 240 frames going down the mountain on a snowboard, so I probably won't hit the overheating issues as well as somebody else. And remember, the DJI Action cameras aren't free of issues. You forget, Bill, when the Action 3 launched this year, it had that focusing issue for the first couple of months.
Right
Not
away,
everybody had it. Now, a lot of people had perfectly good ones, but a lot of people, even some famous YouTubers, got ones that didn't focus well.
Yeah, I remember that. That wasn't long
Really,
after it.
I mean, I know overheating's a big deal, right? But who wants your video out of focus, Bill?
Absolutely. Well, this subject here, Mini 3 Pro, it's on sale, okay? Yeah. And I think, and we're going to get to the Mini 4 Pro here in a second, but I wanted to go over this because I still think, a lot of people, let's see, I got the article. Where is the article here? Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned the Mini 3 Pro being on sale last night, but actually the sale that came out today is much better than the one I talked about last night. This is much better than the deal I mentioned last night on Drone Nation.
DJI Mini 3 Pro with extra batteries and DJI RC hits new $939 low, save $219, more at $819. DJI Mini 3 Pro Fly More kit, $938.78 shipped. It's also joined by the more standard Mini 3 Pro kit at $818.99, down from its usual $909 price tag. That is a real, I mean, we talk about signs and indications that another drone is coming. Ron, I mean, when you see it, this is like the bell is ringing here. Okay. It's going to come, and it's going to come sooner rather than later.
What you're saying, Bill, they're not slashing these prices for nothing.
No, absolutely not. Okay. DJI does not. And that's one thing that we've learned through the years. When they go out and they slash prices, they're doing it on purpose. They're trying to move inventory because they want to get new inventory in to replace that.
And also the resellers like Amazon, Bees Photos are also trying to clear their inventory out too and have the new orders.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you go out, for example, to maybe Adorama or B&H, a lot of times you can get, even with the sale prices, if you have their financing, you can get like 24 months, same as cash. Right. And that's what I got on with Adorama on my Air 3. I got 24 months, same as cash, which is I'm going to jump all over something like that. Cause that's, I mean, I'll pay that off way ahead of time, but it makes sense. And you're saving money that way. And when you see all these retailers doing that, it's a sign. Okay. It's a sign that the Mini 4 Pro is coming. I mean, it's just inevitable. And Drone DJ put out an article about that. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get this one up. New glut of leaks on rumored Mini 4 Pro and M30-ish mystery drone. Okay. They talk about
that little sign on top of the picture, Bill, according that's Igor's stuff.
Yeah, that's Igor's stuff. And then the Mini 4 Pro flies and flies and flies and flies, and I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get dinged for it. Yeah. The morning doesn't start with coffee, but with a fresh photo of a DJI industrial drone shared with us by DJI. And, that nobody really knows a whole lot about that. But then there's another test flight of the Mini 4 Pro here. And another here, DJI new drone, okay?
Mini 4 Pro is all over the place, Bill.
Yeah, and then you can see right here, he's showing the new camera on this industrial DJI drone, and it's real comparable to the Mavic 3 right here. You take a look at that. I mean, it's very compatible with that. It's just, and I gotta ask the question, Ron, and I want to get your thoughts about this. All right, with all the talk about them putting the pressure on DJI and maybe have some insane tariffs or stopping importing them altogether, do you think that this is really playing into them moving all these products into the market so fast?
I mean, just speculation. That they want to get everything released before they get shut down. I mean, I'm not really buying that, Bill, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think they have been. I think personally they have been very geared up this year. Okay, unlike any other year I've seen, Ron, it's just like one after another, after another, after another. And you know what? And I'm going to mention it in the same breath. Don't be surprised that we might not see a Pocket 3 coming out as well too. Okay,
I hope you're right, Bill.
I hope so too, because I think that's one thing I would get right away, because I know how much you like yours, and other people have liked theirs, and I think that would really add a lot to workflow for me.
I'd rather get
for
a
my
Pocket
channels.
3 than I would an Action 4 or a Hero 12.
I kind of agree with you on that end. And I'm actually thinking, if they don't come out with a Pocket 3 by like Christmas, I'm getting a Pocket 2. Okay, because I want to have something, for when we have the drone meetup next year, for when I go to my ham radio meetups. I want something like that.
And there's good deals on the DJI Refurb store on Pocket 2s.
Yes, I did see that, and that's something that I would jump all over if that's the case come November, December.
Bill, let me ask you a question. It'll be 3 years this November since the Pocket 2 came out. So usually DJI doesn't go that long of cycles. If we do not see a Pocket 3 by Christmas time, are you ready to declare the Pocket series dead?
Maybe. I mean, it's kind of a shame, because I'll tell you what, it's a real niche, Ron. They really hit something, because it's not an action camera, but yet it's not a full-fledged, SLR camera. It's kind of it's its own little market. Okay,
it's like half the size of an action camera, but you kind of get the same video quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. It's easy to accessorize. It's extremely easy to use. And, once they work their way, and I know with the first iteration, they had issues with audio. That was a real big issue. And, once they worked through that, the Pocket 2 worked really well.
Yeah,
it really had very few complaints about it.
Yeah. And another thing about the Pocket 2 is, when people know, people walk around filming with their phone. Everybody knows when you're filming with your phone. Even people know action cameras now. People know when you're filming an action camera. When I walk around with that Pocket and filming, nobody knows what I'm doing. The average person doesn't know what a pocket is. They have no idea what that stick in your hand is. They have no idea you're videotaping when you walk around with the Pocket 2. So that's kind of an advantage too.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally slip it like in your pants pocket, like if you're wearing jeans, and have that on and record, and nobody would know the difference. I mean,
even when you hold your hand, nobody really knows what it is.
And nobody really knows what it is. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, with the Mini 4 Pro, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, okay, and I know, we had just talked about the Air 3 and, them getting technology off the Mavic 3, off the Mini 3 Pro, kind of a thing. They're going to have to up the ante here, okay? And is it going to be, are we going to look at runtime? I'm sure they'll probably do something to tweak runtime with this. We're probably
I'll stop you one way. It's hard to imagine them getting more than from the Plus battery, but maybe they increase the runtime on the standard 250 gram battery.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's
which will be important to non-Americans that need a 250 gram drone.
Exactly. That's very important to outside the U.S. That's very important to our friends up in Canada and over in Europe, UK. I mean, it really makes a big difference for them. The other thing is it going to have a new transmission system? Are we going to see 04 with that?
I mean, I don't think we'll see it. Like Billy said last night, I don't think we'll see a new DJI drone that doesn't have 04 unless it's an SE something or another.
Yeah.
Billy said that last night. I agree.
Exactly. And we'll see. That means, we'll have the RC2 that'll come with that. And, one of the things, and I found it real frustrating, and I'm going to be doing a video on it. All right. And I did some search in the forums, and I don't know if you know this or not. Okay. Obviously I love to do we all do screen recordings. Okay.
Yeah.
There is no way, and DJI, one of the moderators from DJI answered this question. There is no way to directly record the screen recording to the SD card in the DJI RC2. It doesn't happen. You can't do it.
Sean Oz has been, talking about that. so far that he can't figure out how to, to do that. So how do you get the screen recording over? Do you have to hook the drone up to your computer and
that's what I
the
did.
The controller of the drone.
I hooked the controller up to the computer to my USB port on my computer, and boom, it was right there.
Yeah, put like a hard drive,
in
pull
2
it
seconds.
off.
Yeah, we'll see what I had done.
I'm going to piggyback on that, Bill. Sean also complained that he cannot plug a USB mic into the port on the controller. He cannot record audio on the screen recordings like he could.
Yeah, you can't record audio on that either. Yeah, you can't record audio on that either. Well, one of the things that I found interesting, and this was out on my Zoom video, is my screen recording is not 100% in sync with the video that I shot. It's off by just a little bit. Okay. And I worked over an hour trying to get that lined up. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact I shot that in 4K 60. Okay. And you look at the speed that the video is going. Okay. Yeah. Now you look at the end and it lines up, but at the beginning it doesn't line up. And there's no way, and somebody had commented on that, and I explained to them. I said, there's going to be a part of it where we'll line up. There's a part of it where it doesn't.
Because the screen recording is a 30 frame per second.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's now did the screen recording come out 720p or 1080p?
I believe it's 1080 now.
That's an increase. I believe the screen recordings off the RC1 were 720p.
Yeah, because the clarity on it is much better this time around. I was very impressed with that. I mean, it was really good. And one of the other things with that as well too, thinking ahead to the Mini 4 Pro. Okay, the battery obviously, looking at 04 and with a DJI RC2, we're going to have that. Right. They're going to have, and I know Marcus always says DJI will come up with something we didn't know we needed until they came out with it, and now all of a sudden we'll need it. Okay, they'll come with the usual array. What I think they're going to do is I think it's going to have true obstacle avoidance like the Air 3. Okay, I think that's
omnidirectional.
Omnidirectional, exactly, because that's one of the things that got added to the Air 3 that I thought was really key for a lot of people buying it, is that omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, and it works. I mean, Mark, you saw Marcus's video. It does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Bill, to your knowledge, would that be the first mini drone with omnidirectional obstacle avoidance if that happens?
I think so. I believe so. I believe it would be that. Yeah, that's for sure.
If somebody else has it, it doesn't work well. Yeah, I'm thinking that Hubsan Xeno Mini Pro may have had it, but if it did have it, it didn't work well.
It didn't work well. Yeah. That's for sure.
Well, there's some good big upgrades right there. I mean, you put 04, you put the omnidirectional optical avoidance, and maybe increase the battery life on the standard battery, and maybe you throw in waypoints.
Yeah.
And you got yourself quite a bit of upgrade. Because Bill, could they, if they drop the same camera in the Mini 4 Pro that's in the Air 3, would they get people upset if they gave the lesser drone the same camera quality as the bigger drone?
That's a great question, Ron. And I was kind of thinking the same thing, because as my next question is, I wanted to talk about the camera coming on a Mini 4 Pro. What they would do, and if they would do something like that, it would get a lot of the natives would get restless.
Oh, speaking of natives, Marcus went Hollywood on us.
I just got in from my walk. It was hot out there, boys.
I thought you have Hurricane Hillary there.
Hillary is an awful sweet gal. She was very gentle in Idaho. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's definitely good.
It was no different. I mean, we got a couple of rain sprinkles, and they said we were going to have high winds. There were no high winds. I mean, it was weird. Sometimes they're wrong. I guess that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
Well, Ron just posed a great question, Marcus. Go ahead and pose it again, Ron.
Oh, we were talking about some of the improvements for the possible Mini 4 Pro. We said maybe increase battery life on the standard battery. We talked about omnidirectional obstacle avoidance. We talked about I'm missing one here.
04.
04, which is probably definite. We talked about maybe possibly waypoints, and then we threw around camera. We said if they put the same camera on it that the Air 3 has, will that get people a little upset who paid more money for the Air 3 and now a cheaper, lower grade drone has the same camera quality?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because
Good.
It will not have the performance of the Air 3, number one.
Correct.
But I think you're spot on in all the features that may or may not be on there. And Ron and I have talked about this before, Bill. I think the reason is not for the U.S. market, but for the Canadian market, and for particularly like the UK, where it's a big deal for them to have a sub 250 drone, and they still want those professional features. But they want it on a drone that's under sub 250, and they'll pay for it.
Especially the professionals want that camera quality.
Right. So what, Ron, here's what I'm going to give you a warning on is maybe don't even expect it to be that much cheaper than the Air 3. It might be bumping up, within a few $100s of the Air 3.
Which will, hurt with, a lot of people that buy the mini drones because of the cheaper price, but they can release a Mini 4 SE down the road at a much better price with a lot of these features missing.
Exactly right. Or, we
release the same day. I don't know why they wait. Just release the same day. Okay, here's the budget Mini 4 that the people that are trying to save money. Here's your drone, and here's the professional one for Europeans and Canadians that need a 250 gram professional.
I'll bet you what they would do is continue to sell the Mini 3, right? Not the Mini 3 Pro, but the Mini 3.
Yeah.
Because it's got a 4K camera and a lot of that stuff.
And a heck of a good price.
At a heck of a good price, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and we just talked about that right before we got into talking about the Mini 4 Pro, the new discounts on the Mini 3 Pro. I mean, it's and as Ron and I pointed out, it's painfully obvious what DJI is doing here. I mean, they're moving out inventory to make room for new inventory here. I mean, it's real.
It's blue light special over there now on mini drones, Marcus.
Hey, Ron, I know another guy that did the same thing. Moved out his old inventory so that when the
new who sold his Mini 3 Pro? I don't know.
I'm behind. I just sold my Mini 2 not that long ago.
You know what? That Mini 2, I'm never going to sell my Mini 2. It's going to be in the box till it won't fly anymore. And
what Sean told us one time. He said, "Never say never."
Well, that's true. I agree with that. I have all of the DJI Mini drones. I got them all, and I have no intention. I'm not, like you said, Ron, never say never. But I can tell you right now, I have no intention of selling any of them.
Hey, Sean's most recent video and Sean the drone. What's Sean's last name?
You're talking. Oh, Sean Matthews and
Sean Matthews. Sean the drone. Yeah. On his most recent video, he had the controller from the original Mini, and that's not called the RCM1. It has a different name to it. I didn't realize that.
The original, John, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, he called it something had a C in it or something like that.
Yeah,
it has a different name then. Yeah. That one controller has a different name, even though it looks like. But he pointed out how it doesn't have the pause button on it.
Right. Yeah. It's go ahead, Bill.
No. All I was going to say was, and the one other thing that I talked about with Ron as well was, DJI always seems to go ahead and think of something, and you say this every time, and you're spot on. They think of something that we didn't know that we needed until we saw it, and now we need it, kind of a thing. Okay.
Well, let me stop it there. What was that? We didn't think we needed a feature on the Air 3.
The 70 mil, I think the 70 millimeter telephoto,
and the
no, Bill. I knew I needed that, Bill. That was
the ascent and descent speed.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Okay, that's a good one.
No, okay, I know I need that 3x teles. That was.
But the other thing that they gave us that's not on any other DJI drone is the tilt shift, and I haven't tried it yet. I'm anxious.
I haven't tried either. Yeah, that's good. There you go. There's another good one, Marcus. Yeah. Tilt shift.
Yeah. So they're gonna come up with something, okay? And the challenge is for DJI, and Ron pointed it out real well when we were talking about batteries, is keeping that 249 gram limit, okay? Because, over up in Canada, UK, Europe, I mean, it's a big deal. Not so much for us, but for them it is. So DJI has a double challenge in trying to come up with additional features for this drone, pack them in, and keep the weight at 249 grams or under. I mean, that's a real serious kind of a challenge.
Those engineers are working overtime, Bill.
One of the things. Go ahead, Marcus. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what we've talked about is they always throw something at us we didn't know we need. You know that with every new drone, they always throw some kind of feature on that drone that isn't on any others. So the Mini 4 will have something. Who knows what it is? It could be some kind of intelligent flight mode or something, but there'll be something new on there that we haven't seen on other drones.
Since this one has tilt shift, maybe dolly zoom will be on that. Remember when the Anafi was the first people to put
that dolly zoom is cool.
Dolly zoom on the drone. Maybe they put dolly zoom on.
Yeah, and you can do dolly zoom manually, but I'm not. Yeah. I'm not steady enough on the sticks to do it.
That Dr. Auto dolly zoom on the Anafi worked great.
It worked better than I can try and do one manually. I can tell you that. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I'm hoping DJI can kind of improve on, because I've had it happen to me several times with the Mini 3 Pro, is, for example, I finished one flight. I'm getting ready to set up to do another flight. Obviously, I'm recording things, and it's sitting there. And it's sitting there for like 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden I get a warning, and it shuts down because it's overheated. Because we have discussed ad nauseum, the Mini 3 Pro needs to keep moving to get ventilation in to cool it down, because it's so important for that. Okay, I just wondered if there's a way that they can find, without, obviously, drone needs to be in a moving state to cool down, okay, all the time. But if they can find a way to make it last at least 5 minutes between flights without getting, getting overheated and shutting down, I think that would be a bonus for a lot of people.
Somebody told me this, and I've never tested to prove this has any validity. But somebody said if you're going to keep it on 5 minutes or whatever without flying it, use the normal battery. That it doesn't get as hot as the plus battery.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Somebody told me that it said normal battery doesn't heat up like the plus battery, but I've never tested that. And I don't have two. Well, I guess you could just use a stopwatch to see which one heat up first. But I've been told that more than once. You use the regular battery if you're worried about overheating.
And I think Marcus probably just said it too. Is they'll add a feature, and I don't know if it was you or Ron said it, but they'll add a feature via software. Okay, another mode, something or other that's not going to cost them weight, but yet it's going to be a value-added feature that's going to give us a benefit when we're out there flying the drone. There'll be something there along those lines. And one of the things that you did mention, Marcus, that I really liked was, the ascent and descent speed on the Air 3. It's crazy awesome. Okay. Yeah. And I hope they translate that over to like a Mini 4 Pro, because that's just insane how fast I can get that up in the air.
Mini 4 Pro, because it's just not powerful enough, Bill.
You're probably right.
They could do it. And be careful, because Billy had a story for us yesterday. So to get that max ascent and descent speed, as you guys know, you have to put it in sport mode. Well, what do you lose in sport mode? You lose OA. And he said he was coming down, and he said he just held it down just a little too long, and he said it just kissed the ground. And his body.
So much for all the people say don't use the landing pad.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was. I think he was just trying to descend, and he just held the stick down just a little bit.
Or if he would have landed that thick grass out at the Kleiner Park, he'd probably been okay.
He'd have been fine. Yeah,
except he mowed a little grass.
Yeah.
Well, that's how our good friend Rick Smith lost his Air 3. He was in sport mode, and he should have gone up instead of down. Okay, right. And because he was in sport mode, no obstacle avoidance, and he had, I don't know if you guys probably saw that his video.
Well, he was trying to avoid a low flying aircraft. Was
right. There was a low flying aircraft, and when he went down, he went into trees, and instead of stopping and thinking for a second, he continued to try to go down, and that was the worst thing in the world, because it ended up, it was the perfect storm. It was right over like a marshy, boggy area, and that's where his
farmer's boggy area.
And he lost it, and it's like the first time that's happened to him, and that we
all lose one eventually.
I'm biting my lip.
Well, it's one of the things here. Always learn from others' mistakes, that kind of thing. Okay, and Rick was very candid, and he expressed a lot of humility in his video, and I really like that. It was his fault, and he admitted that. And one of the big takeaways for me from that was don't get over anxious. Okay, when you're out there and are faced with a situation. I know I've done that before, and it's not gone well. But if you stop and you pause and you make a rational decision, more often than not, it'll bear out for you. You'll do fine.
Hey, Bill, I want to answer Brad Henderson in the chat. He's talking about hand catching his Air 3. Now, I do not hand catch. I don't have good enough vision to hand catch. I don't have good depth perception. However, people that do, one of their secrets with the Air 3 is they put it in sport mode when they're hand catching, because that shuts off the sensors.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a good point.
And Richard SSB 73Q says fan. He means put a fan in the Air 3 to keep the Mini 3 to keep the cooling down. But I'm guessing the fan would add weight to the drone. It's probably why the fan's not in there.
Yeah, John K is asking about losing the Autel. I never lost an Autel drone, John.
Oh, we're not going there. No.
No, you know what? Let's. The controller happened to be in Ron Brown's hands at the time, and that was the only thing. The controller just happened to be in his hands. It could have been in my hands. It could have been sitting on the table, and that drone would have crashed no matter what.
Yeah, and unlike the other video we talked about, it wasn't a case where it was beyond line of sight. It wasn't a case where it was
right in front of us.
It wasn't any low flying. It was none of those circumstances. The drone wasn't even moving when it decided.
Yeah, it was in a hover,
and it didn't even lower itself the ocean. It either blew a prop, a bird hit it, something. It just took a death spiral down.
It augured in
a perfect hover.
Yeah. So here's my theory, Ron. I'm pretty sure it threw a prop.
We saw Stevie Bronx's slow mo.
Yeah, I would bet $100 that's what happened. It threw a prop.
Yeah. So back to the horror story when we talk about props with the little Vada, the people say, always check your props real good before you took off. Now, that prop may have been perfect. It may have had a hairline crack. I did not check that prop before I took the. I'll fully admit I did not check that prop before I took off.
No, but Ron. So let's explain the whole story. So what happened is that I had just landed it, and I'd done a flight, and I had just landed it, and I slapped another battery in it, and I was going to take off again. And Ron walked up and said, "Hey, I'd like to fly it."
Actually, Mark Fisher flew it right before me.
That's right. Mark Fisher. That is right. Mark Fisher, and then Mark handed you the controller. So, I mean, the whole thing was just, it was circumstance. It was happenstance, I guess is a better way to describe it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited because, it's knocking on the door, and we don't have the luxury of now having the, FCC filing to go by with anything like this. But, one of the things I wanted to comment on, and I know somebody else had talked about this as well. It seems we bounce around from different leakers like Jasper Ellens, Ositalev, and now Igor out on Twitter. Okay,
you forgot Jasper Ellens.
Jasper Ellens. And but what's really interesting here, it's like almost on a daily basis with Igor, he's posting some kind of a new picture. Whether it be for the Mini 4 Pro or, GoPro Hero 12 or this new DJI industrial drone, something's coming out every day. And, and I'm going to say this, and I've said it all along, okay? The mothership does, when these leaks come out, it's not they're not holding back. Okay, you know,
Mhm.
these are coming out with their blessings. They want to
His
generate.
cousin works at DJI.
Well,
Hey,
go ahead.
well, there's just what some. Well, I want to make sure we answer everything in the chat. So, KC Crime Fighter is also saying that one of the ways that you can hand catch is to bring it down, put your hand under, and it'll raise a little bit. The sensors will see it. If you just keep putting that stick down, it'll go into landing mode. So it's kind of the same thing, really. But I just wanted to point it out.
That's a
Oh, and how about Molly 85, Marcus? I got the Air 3 with the RC and 2 controller. How do we activate cruise control with no C1 and C2 buttons?
Gosh, I'm trying to remember. Don't you have on the front?
There are buttons on the back of the RC M1 or M1-2, aren't there?
I've done it before, but it's awkward because it's on the front of the controller. No, that's the wrong one. Sorry. I got more controllers than I know.
Yeah, folks, Marcus will be, he's got 50 drone bags to check through here. Bear with us for a second here. We might as well run a promotional ad, Bill.
Yeah.
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 Bill, have you tried the cruise control out yet?
So the function
No.
button.
That's coming this weekend.
Oh, the function button on the front.
You can program the function button on the front to do cruise control. However, it is really awkward. If you're trying to fly the drone and you're trying to hold speed and then you're trying to hit that button at the same time, you're a better man than me.
Marcus, show us the back of that controller.
And there's nothing on the back.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And notice I do label them so I know which one goes.
I do the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And Leonard answered the question as well.
Thanks,
too.
Marcus, for answering the question.
Mr. JRCs is asking me if there's any good Holy Stone drones there. Maybe, I guess, is probably the way to answer that. So the only one that I really have thought was worth the money is that HS 360S, their little mini drone. And that said, the camera quality is lousy. So you don't want to buy that little mini drone if you're expecting to get really high quality video. But that said, the drone actually flies pretty good. The GPS works well. It'll fly out at range. The drone itself performs pretty good.
Can you take my 8K video on that drone, Marcus?
Yeah. It's it's too bad because if they would take that little drone and put even some kind of more reasonable camera with a gimbal on it, it'd be kind of cool. But it's got features and it's $100. The last time I looked on Amazon, it was $108. So
yeah. Even if you bought just a camera for $108, it wouldn't be that good.
Yeah, the H720G that he's mentioning there.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
No. He's saying the H720G. That's not one that I'd be interested in. I can tell you that.
And Mad Prop said, just get the Mini 2 SE and save your
money.
There
you go. If you've got enough money for an H720G, buy the Mini 2 SE. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
that's a good point. Guys, any closing thoughts tonight before we wrap things up?
Just interesting, week with the leaks, the leaks from the Hero 12, because it came from that same German website that releases them every year. So they tend to be pretty accurate. But Bill, last year they did miss that it had that new vertical sensor, that improved sensor, and it missed that it has some other features. So don't lock this in. The Hero 12 still may be better than what we've seen, because last year the same people missed a couple real good features or whatever. So looking forward to that coming out. I mean, the Mini 4, I'm being interested, but the Mini 4 is so far away that I'm not getting too keyed up now. I'm enjoying the Air 3 right now, and I'll enjoy that drone for the rest of summer and the fall, and we'll worry about the Mini 4 when we get to the winter. And I lose my train of thought here. I'm just going to pass on. I was going somewhere with that comment, but now I've lost it all. But
it sounded really good, Ron.
Yeah, I was going someplace good. I got sidetracked and lost the train of thought. So no, just it's a good time of year to get flying. The weather's starting to cool down a little bit. Maybe not for Bill in Florida, but for the rest of us, I got a nice cool night here. So again, looking forward to flying the heck out of that Air 3 or whatever, and we'll wait and see what the Mini 4 has to offer. And I would take a Pocket 3 over a Mini 4. Mini drone I have right now is good enough.
So Ron, I am going to echo exactly what you said. If you hadn't mentioned the Pocket 3, I was going to jump all over it. I would love to see the Pocket 3 before the end of the year. And with regard to the GoPro, like Ron said, it appears to be a nothing burger, but that's not fair. It's an incremental improvement, and they may, when it comes out, there may be some feature on there that blows us away, but so far it doesn't seem that terribly exciting. And then as far as the Mini 4, yeah, I'm always up for something new because DJI, they always surprise us. They always put something on there that's really cool, and I can't imagine that the Mini 4 will be any different. So it's always fun to see what they do.
I agree. I agree with both. Getting the Air 3 has been invigorating for me, especially getting over my hand, and it's really kind of like Bill Thomas says, drone therapy. It really is for me, getting out there flying. I tell my physical therapist, and she's just thrilled to pieces that I'm getting out there and using it and using my hands, and she just said, keep doing that, and it's really good. I have a couple of videos coming out on the Air 3 this week. I got a case from Sinova I'm going to review. I also have another case coming from Lycus that'll arrive soon, and I'm really excited about that one. Also got a third video coming out this week on the Air 3, so stay tuned for all those. That's going to be a lot of fun. And also, as a side note, okay, I have an incredible show tomorrow night on Ham Radio Basics. I know some of you guys watch me over there, but I wanted to call this out. I bought a $100 mystery box from Gigaparts. Okay, Gigaparts is one of the 3 largest ham radio outlet stores in the United States, and it's worth at least $200. It's still sealed up. I'm going to do a mystery box unboxing live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. So look forward to that. Also going to give away some swag, which includes some hats, some cups, T-shirts, pens, magnets, you name it. I got it for Ham Radio Basics. And we're going to do something like that here. We're going to have a night. I'm just going to have a giveaway. I'm also giving away a radio tomorrow night too. And
what time is all this, Bill?
That's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night.
Okay.
So looking forward to it. That's going to be a lot of fun. Well, I picked it up. It's worth at least $200. Okay. And I picked the box up. The box is about this big. Okay. So it's not small. So there's a lot of stuff in there. So I'm really, really excited. That should be fun. But I'm really excited about the Air 3. I'm having a blast with it. Just absolutely am enjoying it. Enjoying the quality of the video from it. It's just really popping out at me. I'm just really, really liking that. So want to thank everybody in the chat tonight. It was great seeing all of you. And guys, remember, it's always a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Good night.